These are scripts for this new TV show that we've been hired to do the optical effects for. Take a look at them. And you're standing there looking through this page and through this script, and you're going, Captain Kirk beams down? What the hell is beaming down? I mean, we can't even imagine that because it's such a big part of our culture now. But back then, they didn't even know what that meant. Right. The ship fires phasers. What the hell are phasers? You know what I mean? Like it was all new.
And I can imagine someone writing up a battle scene in space would probably be extremely difficult.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Because nowadays you have a laptop and you can push a button and it'll put a laser beam on it for you.
Well, I mean, like,
but back then they had to figure out how to do it, and it was not that easy at all. They had to figure out like this kind of a, almost, kind of a hodgepodge way of doing that effect. But the cool thing is now, 60 years later, there's nowhere you could go on the planet Earth that they don't know what beam me up means. Isn't that amazing? Amazing.
Except
how
for,
these guys did this, and now it's just part of human culture. And you want to know the best part? Have you ever heard the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention?
Yes.
You know what that means? It means that while you're trying to solve a problem, you need to solve a problem. Sometimes you stumble across some innovative new thing, right? Well, you know what these guys, you know why this room was created? Because they knew they couldn't afford to land the ship every week on a planet. They knew. Remember we talked about money. They knew how much it was going to cost, and they're like, before they ever shot one episode, they're like, we can't afford to shoot the model landing on a planet every week.
So let's find a way to get them down there.
Exactly, and it doesn't take all day. 6-7 seconds, boom. You're gone from here, you show up somewhere else. It's a perfect story vehicle. And how many Star Trek episodes of the original series centered around a transporter malfunction? So not only did it become a vehicle to save money, to keep the budget under control, but it actually turned into a great story tool to tell really cool, interesting stories.
And not just in Star Trek, in all of the spin-offs too.
Oh, yeah.
Some sort of transporter accident, malfunction.
Yes.
Next Generation, when Barclay found the worms floating around and come to find out they were the crew from the original Star Trek.
Yes.
And you could probably redress this to look like any of the transporters, correct?
Well, you could redress it if you needed to. Like, I'll tell you speaking of redressing. The first season of Star Trek, actually the first and second, there were 3 seasons. The first and second seasons of the original series, this room was gray, like the corridor. But for the third season, they decided to paint it this kind of a purplish pink color. I personally think they did that because they were using lights to throw color on the walls. And eventually somebody said, hey, why are we wasting so much time and power trying to make this wall a certain color with gels and lights? We'll just paint the wall. So I think that's what they did. And a lot of the rooms have a lot of vivid colors. And I'm sure you've heard the story. This was the advent of color television. The late 60s was when color television really came into everyday houses. And so Star Trek
were black and white.
Pardon me?
Our first series were black and white.
Oh yeah. Yeah, in fact, the reason that we wrote and produced our 9th episode of Star Trek Continues, the black and white episode that you saw some clips from, is because when I was a little boy, that was how I remembered watching Star Trek at the beginning. We had a little black and white 19-inch television, and that's what I watched it on. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to make an episode that actually has a reason for why it's in black and white? So that's how we came up with that story idea.
And isn't it correct that the original gold uniforms were green on the sets?
They weren't, I wouldn't call them green. Yes. They weren't gold, though. They weren't yellow. They were more of an avocado. They were kind of a greenish gold. But under the incandescent lighting, which is warm, color temperature, they look yellow. They look gold. And they actually were more of a greenish gold. Yeah, whenever somebody, every once in a while you would see a picture. You're like, whoa, that tunic looks like a greenish color. Yeah, sometimes, but mostly they photographed gold. Our uniforms, if you see one with the naked eye, you're like, wow, it is kind of a greenish gold. Yeah, but it didn't photograph that way. Any questions? Anybody? All right, let's keep on rolling here.
Can I take a picture of him on the...
Sure,
Is that okay?
absolutely. Do me a favor, you guys. You're welcome to take any pictures you like. When you step up there, just step right into the center. Don't step on the metal. See the silver ring on the outside?
Cool.
Just step right into the middle. And you'll be able to come back and take all the shots you want. So grab a shot real quick and then let's continue on.
Did the red lights work?
Sometimes, if they need to. If we have a script or a story where that light should be flashing, we'll put a light behind it and flash it.
Also, there's no.
All right, so we get to our next room. Sorry?
There's no lights in it right now.
No. Briefing room.
Oh, cool.
Go on in.
Great set design here.
Exactly. See, they like it.
Wow. What time does the briefing start, Captain?
Briefing room. Oh yeah, where they have their little conferences. So everybody, this is the briefing room, right? But it's also the rec room. And it's also the ship's chapel. Why? Because, once again, if you're trying to save money, you don't build 3 rooms, you build 1 room and you decorate them differently. So when it was the briefing room, it looked like this. When it was the recreation room, they would take this table out of here and they would put little round tables around here with chairs, maybe some coffee, maybe some decks of cards on the tables, maybe a chess set. They put a food processor on that wall right there, and suddenly you have a rec room. When it was the ship's chapel, they put a wall across here, so this was no longer the door. They put the door in that wall over there. And then they built a little platform right here that Captain Kirk stood on with a podium. There were flags behind him, and out there they had some flat benches that the crew would sit on. And suddenly you have a different room.
I might not remember correctly. I watched all the episodes, but didn't you guys, when you were in the briefing room, didn't you guys use one of those things to read?
You know what? You mean, did we put a tape in?
Yeah.
No, we did not. And
I
it's
wasn't-
funny that you should mention that because I'm just about to talk about that. So,
Oh, yeah.
he was asking about, you see the tape slots?
Yeah.
Where you put the
And they're
tapes
not
in?
slots?
Yeah, they're not slots. They're just pieces of black tape. Because we didn't need, I mean, if you don't need to actually put something in it, why would you cut holes in the table and risk ruining the table if you don't need to? So that's one thing that we did. That's crooked. I wonder who did that.
Not me. No, yes, it is.
Yeah, that's crooked. Anyway, well, I'm gonna fix it right now.
How did they make it look like the tape actually went in there?
Well, they had holes in their table. You mean in the original series?
Yeah.
I'm sure they had holes in there.
You know, like the bridge.
Yes, and we've got some of those elsewhere, but we didn't do it here. Now, let me tell you something fun about the switches that are on the table, right? You see, they're at every station. All of these, we call them rocker switches because they rock back and forth, turn it on and off. Okay, these were very prevalent in the 60s. They were very common. They were on dashboards of cars. They were on dashboards of airplanes. They were everywhere. But they're not anymore. So we had another problem, just like the transporter pads. We know what they were, but they're not easy to find. And if you could find them, it'd be very expensive. And there must be at least 20 sets of these all over the ship. So we knew we needed a lot of them if you're going to replicate the original Enterprise. So, what do? We did exactly the same thing we did with the transporter pads. We bought a couple of the real ones, and then we took them apart and we just made little resin copies. Now those don't come out. This is the one for example. But you see, it's just
Which one's the real one?
huh?
Is any of them the
They're
real
on the
one?
bridge.
Oh, they're on the
Remind me later. We'll show you.
Oh, okay.
But you see, they don't move. You see this? Look.
Yeah, I tried to move.
Yeah, they don't switch. But you know what? They don't have to. Because it's a television show. And if the actor is doing his job, you're watching the actor. You're not going, oh, did he really push that? No. He just walks up and goes, yeah, Kirk here.
Now what happens?
And then the sound guy, the sound man, puts a little click sound effect in there, and you totally sell the illusion.
Right.
You see the mesh that's in these intercoms in here? See that? You know what that is? Anybody want to guess what that is? It's guitar amp fabric.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Makes perfect
That's the
sense.
stuff. That's the stuff on a guitar amp.
Certainly is.
Apparently, they had some musicians. Drum rap, guitar amps. All right. Any questions?
We're talking about the shape of the table.
Oh yes, I will. By the way, this wall would never be here.
Okay.
This wall would be gone, and from back there, you can see everything in the room perfectly from that way. If you notice the shape of the table, did you look at the shape? It's really weird, isn't it? It's very asymmetrical. What's it look like to you?
Half a coffin.
What?
Half a coffin.
Half a coffin? I'll never look at it the same
I
now.
remember on one episode of the original series, they had a wooden table.
Yeah, early on, they did.
It's the right shape.
Now, most conference room tables are rectangular, right? Or maybe oval shaped, but not this. Look at this. It's so weird. You know, it's narrow down here, then it gets wide, then it goes down in, and then there's that little thing at the end there where the computer sits. What do you think this is? What does it look like, shape-wise? Anybody want to take a guess? It's not a half coffin. As much as we would like that. You're not allowed to say if you know. Anybody want to have a guess? Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. Starfleet, in the show, in Star Trek, Starfleet is supposed to be patterned after the Navy.
See it now. This is
Yeah, it's an aircraft carrier. Exactly. And I don't know if you know this or not, but several of the starships in the fleet were named after aircraft carriers. The Enterprise was an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, well. The nuclear vessel.
What, Constitution, Lexington, Yorktown?
I think a lot of them.
A lot of them were the aircraft carriers of the day. Any questions, anybody? All right, let's keep rolling. Pay no attention to Bones.
I told you that was my relative.
Giving new meaning to
There's a skeleton
Bones.
climbing through.
Bones, stop climbing that
What
ladder.
is called that leads you through the.
I told him thank you for hiring one of our relatives as a skeleton. What was it? Oh, I think I climbing up the
Yeah, you guys, I'm so glad you stopped there. Grant played Sulu. Grant Imahara played Sulu in our series, and he tragically, unexpectedly passed away from a brain aneurysm. I mean, what, just like a year and a half or two ago. And
good man.
so, amazing guy. So we put that up in his memory.
This mom. Somebody's talking about
Now, you remember what I told you about this side of the corridor with those sets that we didn't need? But we did need some other sets. So come on in here with me. And we're going to play a little game. I want you to stay on this side of the room. Come over here. Come on in, everybody. Stay on this side of the room and just look that direction. Come on in, guys.
No, you're fine.
Is that everyone? Come on in. Now, did you see the sign above the door when you came in? Auxiliary control. What you're looking at is auxiliary control. That's aux control. And we built that for our 3rd episode, then we used it again in our 11th episode. However, This area is the area that I told you about that we needed to build lots of sets in. A few months ago, we shot a fan film here, and the script for the fan film called for a cargo bay. Well, guess what? We didn't have a cargo bay. But this is the only area we've got to build it. So, you ready? Follow me. Come to the other side of the room and turn around and look back that way. If you come back here and turn around, pretend this table's not here, first of all. Pretend this table's not here. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
See all the junk?
Yes.
Storage stuff and pipes and tubes, and when you light it real dramatically with streaks of light like it's a storage unit area, basement kind of thing, it looked amazing. Skip was part of that shoot, am I right? It looked great. So again, we turned this area into a completely different set. You saw me kick Lou Ferrigno. That happened right here. None of this was here, right? This was Lolani's room right here. And Lou stood here, and there was a mattress, and I was over there, and I came running and jumped over the mattress and kicked him. And it hurt. Not me, not him, me. This was also an alien council chamber for our 6th episode. It was also Aaron Gray's office, Commodore Gray's office. When she was here, she sat at a desk right here. This was her desk. Now, see the difference? Auxiliary control, it's a black screen. When we redressed it to be her office, we made it white with the names of all the ships that were still in service. See that? We put a wall across there so you didn't see all of that stuff back there. And then we put an open window in this wall with a green screen behind it. So you could project the starbase outside in the window. So as you can see, this area became very valuable floor space. We've built at least 8 or 10. Now you've done it.
I didn't break it.
She did, I saw it. Did you see her
I
break
did
it?
not.
Let's all run from one room to the other.
You just did it again! You broke it again.
I didn't touch that one.
You're gonna crash the ship. Let's do a starship shite.
Yes.
Broke the
yes.
bloody ship.
Yes.
I fixed this one.
Yeah, there's one over here that's off its rocker as well. Or,
Well, see, this is what happens when people come in and go, I wonder if this works.
I knew they said already. I was just trying to put it
what
back.
does this
No,
do?
I'm just saying, some people get kind of rough with, not you, I was just teasing you. But some people get rough with things.
It's not going to go back.
No, it's not. It's missing something.
No, it could
Glue it back. Just glue it back.
Oh, well, here. We'll glue that later.
Was it hard for you guys to find chairs
Oh, I see
of that
chairs like
era?
this.
Oh, these are not, oh, I totally forgot about that. When we were in the briefing room, did you notice there were no chairs?
Yes, I did.
You know why there were no chairs?
Why buy
Because
like
they
50
didn't
chairs
fit.
when you only need like 5?
Somebody's been here before. Why would you spend money to buy 20 or 30 chairs when you're only shooting in one room at a time? So you buy 10 chairs and you just move them around based on what room you're shooting in. These are not Star Trek chairs either.
No, these are school.
They're kind of similar,
Yeah, this one's probably a little more similar.
but you'll see the real ones on the bridge.
Okay.
Any questions? All right. You're gonna get us all in trouble. You're gonna get us all
Well, I
killed.
keep seeing it. I just wondered.
Oh, there it is again. Yes. All right, we're gonna go right across the hallway.
Captain in his natural habitat.
Now you notice. Come on in, everybody, and you can go around there too.
Oh, yeah. Oops. That was Tisha.
Now we call this the crew quarters.
There's the bag.
You don't call it the captain's quarters. Come on in.
Because you change it up for each different crew.
Exactly. If you're trying to save money, you don't build Spock a bedroom. You don't build Kirk a bedroom. You don't build Uhura a bedroom. You don't build Sulu a bedroom. You build one room and you redecorate it, depending on whose room it is. And you save money that way. So when it was Captain Kirk's room, the table was here and the bed was there, and there were certain things on the walls, certain things on the counter, just like you have things in your home that you collect, valuables and things that you things that you enjoy. This is not Captain Kirk's room, though. Did you see the sign on the door?
Captain Robert April.
Captain April. So apparently a fan production shot here, and they brought in a bunch of different things, and they decorated it to be Captain April's room.
Yeah, some of those are mine. I need them back in my garden when I'm done.
You may have them.
No joke. There's at least 2 things in here, and every book.
Is this one of them?
No. And every booze bottle I laboriously purchased and consumed, and then redecorated.
Oh, you're such a giver. You know,
I paid.
you took one
And
for
I
the
gave-
team
and
there.
I gave some more. Not that one. That one's killer.
Ironically, this looks like the
The
same
ones that
one
have
on
the-
Next
the contact
Generation that
paper.
Guy would have.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Again, now this is a classic bottle from Star Trek. But in reality, it was just a bottle of booze. That looked like this. It was made by a company called Dickel Whiskey, Dickle. Apparently, the producers, the people that were building these sets and dressing them, thought it kind of looked interesting. And it does.
It does.
What's the difference between this and this?
They painted it.
That's it. They painted the leather. That's all they did. Literally, they just painted it. And by painting it, what do? They now made a bottle that does not exist anywhere on the planet. You could not go to a liquor store and buy this anywhere in the world. It would look like this, but it wouldn't look like this. So again, with just a tiny bit of adjustment, you take something that already exists and you make it different in some small way. Notice the sickbay
Pull the
fabric
bottom off.
on the bed,
Just the bottom.
on the panels, on the wall. Yep.
You remember that bottle?
Oh, you do, huh? You want some Saurian brandy right now, don't you?
It's green.
Oh my gosh, everybody, I want you to say hello to one of our esteemed producers of Star Trek Continues. Ralph Miller was our sound supervisor. He was one of the producers of the series, and if you've seen the series, he did amazing work as our sound supervisor, and apparently he's watching online right now. Everybody say hi, Ralph. Hi. In fact, Ralph made this. Ralph also makes a lot of really good props and stuff. He's built a lot of the things around the studio as well. He's out in LA right now.
Do you have to say door for that to open? Or?
No. You know what? This is even funnier. Somebody crawls back in there, inside here, and they pull it open manually. There's a blooper in one of our episodes where somebody pulled it and then they stuck their hand out and waved at the camera.
The Thing from Addams Family.
Yes, exactly. That wall would never be here. That wall would be gone, so from out there you could shoot into the room, see everything.
Question, why did y'all put these walls in now?
Because they're done shooting.
Oh, well, yeah, but for tours. It helps keep the room kind of self-contained. If that wall were not here, it would look like a shooting stage, like they're lumber and, stuff, all kinds of stuff. And that's what it is, and that's the difference. It's an actual place that you'd shoot a TV show. It was made for that purpose. It wasn't made to be a museum or, it was made to shoot a TV show.
When are you going to shoot your next one?
What?
When are you going to shoot your next one?
Oh, I don't know that that's happening.
Yeah, you're probably not allowed because of CBS.
Yeah, I think we did what we set out to do.
Oh, you did a fine job.
Thank you. I mean, we set out to finish the original series of Star Trek.
And you
we
got
did.
very lucky with CBS's recording rules when it comes to fan fiction.
We got very lucky. They let us finish, and we're very grateful for that. Now, the last thing I want to show you in this tiny room is a little cheat, sneaky camera production trick. So while some of these walls are wild. That's the term they use for a wall that you can break down and carry out immediately. Some of them are fixed, like solid fixed walls. They're not going anywhere. And this is one of them, this big back wall. But what if you need a camera shot? Like back there shooting this way, somebody coming in that door, and you can see Kirk sitting in the foreground here, but you can't get that far away. Well, what you do is you cut a camera port.
Oh, there's a hole in the wall.
So you can shoot from a distance, and then you just cover it up. Same with over there, behind the bed.
Right here, that's one too.
That's a red alert, actually, that's missing a red alert. We need to get red alert up there. Any questions, anybody? Anyone at all? Okay, let's continue. We'll come around this corner. I want to stop everybody right here for a minute. I'll tell you a little fun story here. Let me know when we're all out here. Is that everybody? Yes. So you guys remember how in the engineering room we talked about the styrofoam packing materials and junk that you just find in a garbage can and you spray paint it, call it a day, stick it on the wall. Just doesn't matter what it is. That doesn't matter at all. A lot of these things, like the red pipe thing down there, what is that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. These here, over here, these tubes cut in half. What is that? It doesn't matter. It's just detail. I made a couple of these, and I also made this one. But here's the thing. You're not supposed to look at them. They're just background.
That looks pretty cool.
Well, until you look at it closely. Let's do that for a minute, just for fun. This is a little tiny paint tray. This is a ceiling outlet. This is a drain. Valve. That's some piece of plumbing, something or other cut in half. Plumbing cut in half. Plumbing cut in half. This was just scraps of wood that I cut to size and glued together. There was a chair rolling around the studio and it was missing a wheel. I found the wheel, but I didn't put it back on the chair. Now here's what's funny. If you really, now you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, what a pile of trash. You're like, it's, you know what I mean? It
served its purpose.
It's ghetto, right? I mean, that's just crappy, right?
No.
But watch. I'd like to borrow you. Will you stand right here for me? Stand right here for me, and I want you to face me. Oh, you're fine. What is that behind her? No idea.
So, yep.
No idea. It's just detail. It's just some cool background detail. See how that works?
And that's really all you need.
That's it. All it is to keep it from being an otherwise plain gray wall. It's meant for no other reason but detail for the camera to make it more interesting. Now, I like to tell people something here in all our tours that I think is so important. The most important element of any story, of any television show or movie, is the story. The story's the point. It's not the sets. The sets are not the thing. The story's the thing. There are plenty of productions out there that spend so much time building sets and making costumes, but they don't have any good stories and they don't have any good actors.
And it lasts one season and then you
Well,
never see
yeah,
it
or it
again.
doesn't even last that long. Because the reason you build these sets to look as much like the original Star Trek series as you can is so that the audience will forget them. Not obsess over them, quite the opposite. What we want to happen is the screen fades up and you go, holy crap,
You're on the Enterprise.
it looks just like I remember it. And then you accept that you're there and you let us tell you a story. Now, if the screen fades up and I go, I don't remember that being that color. Well, that's way bigger than I thought it was. What is that? that? I don't even remember that being there. What are you not doing?
Pay attention to the storyline.
Exactly. You're not paying attention to the story. The actor's not doing a very good job of holding your attention. That's why, even when they built the original series and they put all these things on the on the walls, it didn't matter what it was, because that's not the point. Your focus is supposed to be on the actors telling the story. If you're looking at this crap, somebody's really not doing a good job. Either the writing's bad or the acting's bad or something. You're not supposed to be paying much attention. This is all, at the end of the day, this is all just a backdrop to tell a good story. You come around this corner and you see the famous Jeffries tube that Scotty used to climb up into. Come on over here. You want to take a look?
That's so awesome.
Now, what's especially cool about this Jeffries tube is you could just build it to look good, but that's all. Like, it could fall apart if you tried to, climb in it, right? So it could look really good for camera, but not be functional. Well, this one is functional. This is for the purpose of climbing up in there and shooting scenes with Scotty or whoever's up there. And there's a platform up at the top that allows you to shoot down into the tube. Now, they're used to, according to the Star Trek, like, I'm showing my nerd side here now. When I was a little kid, I had the technical manual. Anybody else here?
Yep.
Where it had the ship and they had all the decks and everything. And there were Jeffries tubes all over the ship because you had to have access to all the systems. It's a big ship, like 930 feet. Like, it's a big ship. And there were supposed to be lots of these around the ship. Well, again, if you're trying to save money, you don't build a lot of them. You build one. And then you just paint it differently. Or you move these pipes around. Or you take something that's very visually identifiable like this off the wall and put something else there. And suddenly you have a different Jeffries tube. Any questions? That's the entrance to the hangar deck, where the shuttlecraft would be, through there. Obviously, no hangar deck out there. But what we do have is a green screen that we put across there, so if we need to project the hangar deck with a shuttlecraft out there, we can do it.
Pressurize the bay.
Exactly. Got the control panel on the wall there with the pressurization. I see somebody going into the brig. They're not coming out of there.
Oh, you've got the force field.
They've got the turbo lift.
She just walked right through the force field. Can you believe it? Wow. So this is the brig where they would put somebody, under arrest or being interrogated or something. Has the force field around the door.
Oh, and another one of my relatives.
She said that's her father. Nene said that's her father.
Come on out
She has
here.
a picture of
Now,
him
you guys
there the last time.
remember that we talked about the engineering room. It was at the other end. Remember we talked about that?
Yes, but it would have been right here.
This is where it would have been
Oh,
in the original soundstage. And then finally, just like in the original series, all of these rooms were connected to the corridor. But the bridge was set off. Ooh,
I got a picture of my dad.
That's
I said, "That's my
nice.
dad. Still
He's
sitting
still there.
yeah, he's still there. I told you.
never left.
I told you one of my relatives.
And the bridge was set off by itself in the corner of the studio with a lot of space around it. Because as you recall, the bridge was like a big pie made up of wedges that they would move out of the way to get camera shots. So the bridge was very modular. You guys ready?
Yes. Oh, yes.
You're going to lead us in, buddy. He asked me if he could do this, and he's doing it. So just follow this gentleman around the corner. Okay? You're going to want that, baby.
Yeah.
Follow it around to the right here. Okay, is that amazing or what? I know, and you just want to stand back here and take it in. So how is this even real?
Yeah.
But you can walk right in. That's the best part.
Yes.
You wanted the picture in the captain's chair.
Oh yeah.
In front of you. Captain's chair.
Everybody, you can step right. If you want to lead her, guide her up there, she can sit in it. Get a picture. There you go.
And we're gonna take a picture.
How do you change it over to the camera? I'll take care of that on my phone. Oh, okay. After we're done.
One,
Okay.
and then one more. Step
A
up.
little bit higher.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Now turn around and have a seat. Bingo.
Oh, who's in command now? Oh, look at her. She's swiveling. She knows what's up.
Oh yeah, you got all the buttons.
Don't push that button. Okay, you guys, let me tell you some stuff about the bridge while we're here, okay? And then I'm going to leave you to your own devices to take any pictures you want, whatever.
And you didn't have that in the first few episodes.
No, we did not. We built that after our series was done. Okay, so everybody,
Nope, just
these were Star Trek chairs. This is exactly what they looked like. But even then, these chairs were just cheap, molded plastic chairs. They look like that. So what they probably did was, again, save money, right? They probably sent somebody down to a Kmart, Woolworth, and said, hey, go buy 10 or 11 of those molded plastic chairs. Bring them back to the workshop. They brought them back. They made a seat cushion. They cut a form out for the backrest and upholstered it. Then they probably found just some scraps of wood and cut little triangles out and glued them on the back. And then they painted it some weird color. Now, with just those few tiny little tweaks, what did they do? They made a chair that doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet. You could not go to any store and buy this chair. And it just took a little bit of adjustment. Same with the captain's chair that she's sitting in right now. That chair, if you look at the chair itself, the actual center section, the upholstered section, and these armrests, it's an executive office chair made by a company called Madison. And they were coming. They probably went down to an office supply store and bought one of these chairs and brought it back, and then they built this white section around it. They put some fake little buttons on it and stuff, and suddenly again you have a chair with very minimal adjustment. You have a chair that's unlike any other chair. Oh, somebody found the real switches too.
He's got real switches on that.
Yeah, these are the real deal, and they actually turn stuff on. These first
In
few.
front of the captain, the pilot.
Yeah, this one turns the proximity alert on. Yep.
Oh, another one. He's a little,
Any questions, anybody?
but dynamic, no, it wasn't.
Any questions?
Well, tell us about
Notice
the.
how different this room looks than the other rooms. You know why? Lighting.
Yeah.
Because this room is lit like the original series with directional, focused lighting. We didn't have enough power or lights in this building to light every room like this. So the same thing we did with the chairs. You just move everything from room to room based on what room you're shooting in. Anybody have any questions at all?
Talk about the displays back there, the panels up there.
Oh, you mean the ones on top?
Yeah.
Those are just static graphics. And then the flashing stuff down here below, those are just transparencies with flashing lights behind them.
What's the effect for the
Green
Hornet thing?
You know what
over there?
somebody told me is it's like two discs that are just overlapping.
Uh-huh.
And spinning in opposite direction.
It's
Yeah.
slightly offset lines coming out from the center, and they're one turns.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? You know what's really kind of interesting piece of trivia about that thing is you would see that on another piece of equipment in Star Trek. Do you know what it is? Apparently, they thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's in the communicator.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's the center of the communicator. It spins just like that. And that's Spock's station over there. And a couple of those switches work over there. Skip, you want to show them those toggles that flip, and you can turn the computer off, and you can turn the scanner off, and you can even turn have some fun. Now you guys, if we had gone to Desilu Studios,
Take a picture and close
if we had all got on a bus and gone to the studio where Star Trek was shot in the 60s, you would never see it completely closed in. It would never be closed in. Because you have to have your crew.
or was it dismantled?
Pardon me?
Does it still exist?
Oh no, it's long gone. There are some pieces that people have kept, but it's gone. But you see, remember when you walked in here, you stood back here, didn't you?
Yep.
Because from here, you can see the whole room. It's impressive. But look where I'm standing. I'm outside the room. If these consoles were here, you'd never be able to get any further away than this, and that's not far enough away to see it all. Had you gone to Desilu, there would be sections missing all the time. I guarantee it. Probably the view screen would be gone a lot because they shot right up the middle of that. Anybody have any questions? Well, we want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys online for joining us. And you guys, let me just say one last thing. If you like what you saw, please donate. The price was right, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
And yet it was a priceless experience.
Yeah.
I mean, how often can you say, I did something that was free and yet priceless? Like, you couldn't even put a price tag on it. And there are millions of people around the world that would love to do what you just did.
True that.
They'll never get the chance.
True that.
So in order to pay it forward, in order to keep the lights on, the utilities paid, the rent on the building paid, those are the only things that, you know, the hard cost of keeping this up and running so that people like you can come and enjoy it. So please be generous and donate anything you can. There are boxes on the way out. It was free to tour, and it will always be free to tour. But if you can help us keep it alive for other people to enjoy in the future, that would be great. Finally, I'm going to go to this table right over here. I've got our series on Blu-ray and DVD. I've got pictures from our series. I'm going to sit there for a few minutes if anyone would like to come over and get anything signed. But I'm going to leave you to take all the pictures, sit in the captain's chair. I know you want to sit in that captain's chair, bro, and get some pictures. Go back through the ship and take any pictures you want. And thank you for being here. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.